Once upon a time, in the magical kingdom of an unspecified distance away, lived a magical squirrel called Sarah, whose pronouns were she/her. Sarah enjoyed the ordinary life of a magical squirrel. She watered her houseplants while listening to podcasts about fine art, and was often late for work meetings due to being too optimistic about how long it takes to get ready. What confused Sarah most in life was why her co-workers defined her by her obsession with hummus, when she had so much more to offer. On some days, she would work from home, where she could happily sit with a bowl of her favourite food without being called squirrel dip. A few doors down from her bungalow lived her best friend Joanne, whose pronouns were also she/her. Joanne was the photographer for a local coffee blog. She liked listening to the radio and always forgot where she kept her shopping bags. She was also a hedgehog. For many years of their lives, nothing extraordinary happened. Some days were bad, others were better. Everything was very average, until the day when the hummus factory closed down. Sarah thought this was the worst thing that could possibly happen in her life. Without a moment's hesitation, she moved onto her mobility scooter and drove to her best friend's house. She needed someone to hold her and tell her that everything would be okay. Joanne was at home, editing pictures of her morning beverage, when she heard the heartbreaking sound of a squirrel crying outside. She ran to give Sarah a big hug and said, "I hear your pain. Not everything in life will be okay, but there is a strong statistical probability that you will get through this." Sarah was not entirely comforted, and told her friends she would also be needing a blanket. Joanne was able to provide this, and Sarah felt some sense of protection from the impending doom. But she still wondered what would happen when her fridge-sized supply of hummus ends. Would life be over? Joanne didn't fully understand this sense of panic, but she opened a new tab on her laptop and searched for plant videos. Surely you didn't think they would be looking at cats. An advert from Rectangle Space popped up. "Look," she said, "this website says that they can make it real. We can make hummus real again." Sarah blinked through her tears. She couldn't speak. After an hour of intense silence, when she had fully processed her emotions, Sarah said, "We must break into the hummus factory. The hummus will only work if we use this recipe." Joanne followed this logic and, as it was already dark, they decided to go straight away. In the moonlight, glittery stickers reflected from Sarah's mobility scooter, and Joanne, who followed behind, was glad her friends had figured out the directions, as she was useless with maps. After a few hours, they arrived at the factory and saw that it had by now been fully abandoned by bitter workers who had taken all that was left of the hummus. But this no longer worried Sarah. She only wanted the recipe. They took the lift to the top floor, and there in plain sight stood a golden capsule with the recipe. Sarah put it in her pocket and noticed that the place was on fire, possibly because one of the bitter workers was getting revenge for losing the favourite job. But it was okay, because the factory stairs came with ramps, and the two friends could safely get out. Back at Joanne's house, Sarah opened the golden capsule and realised for the first time in her life that hummus was made from chickpeas. It was almost morning, so Joanne made them both coffee while Sarah searched online for local suppliers. Coincidentally, one of the suppliers was just having a sale, and she bought the whole lot, all of the chickpeas that were available in the magical kingdom, with free shipping. Confident that her life was back on track, she fell asleep. Meanwhile, Joanne drank both cups of coffee, which made her so awake that she noticed there were more pages in the recipe book. She didn't know what tahini or lemon juice were, but they seemed quite essential. About 2 days later, Sarah woke up to the news and informed her friends that she had spent every last penny buying a country's worth of chickpeas. Joanne understood this rational decision and suggested starting a crowdfunder. This was obviously a good idea because many people wanted to see hummus back on shelves, and Sarah wondered why the same colleagues who made fun of her one true love were now giving her money. She phoned in to say she wasn't coming back. Within a few weeks, business was booming. Sarah cooked from the comfort of her bungalow, where she could also water her plants, and Joanne came every day to take pictures. The new Rectangle Space website allowed them to make this necessity come true, and all hummus was restored in the kingdom.